I will be chatting with Laura, the harsh vocalist of the band We Are Sovereign, discussing their album Step Out Your Comfort Zone. I hope you enjoy.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, it's really hot here.
Is it?
So hot. Yeah.
And it's late in the evening or afternoon slash evening there, right?
Yeah, it's about 6 o'clock now.
Okay.
What time
So
is it there? Oh,
it's
sorry.
11 o'clock a.m. here.
Oh,
Yeah. So is this usually the hot time of the year for you guys then?
you know what? The UK is so sporadic. Sometimes you get such random years, like you just out of nowhere just get a really hot day or a really hot week. So you don't know what's coming anymore. It used to be a pattern, but now you don't know.
So do you have heating and air in like the houses, or is the temperature usually mild enough to where you don't need that?
So actual buildings have them. Not all houses do. No, it's not. I know it's a common thing in America, isn't it? But in the UK, it's not. Like our houses, you just blast the window open, get a fan out, and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Do you
No,
know what I mean?
that the house that I grew up in actually was the same way, and it's so funny now having heating and air in my home. I'm like, how in the world did I grow up that way? But we have pretty extreme, not extreme, but we have like snow, for days, weeks, sometimes months in the winter, and then 100 degrees for, a few weeks to a month in the summer. So it's like pretty
God,
extreme sides.
that sounds mad.
But yeah.
What?
Yeah, it can be.
Damn.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about Step Out Your Comfort Zone, which has been already been out for a couple years. Uh,
Hmm.
I know that you guys are doing some like revisions of a song that's coming up here. Gosh, t tomorrow that you
Yeah,
guys
I
are
think it's
releasing it.
yeah, it's your. I think it's your tomorrow. It's 20th for us.
Oh, okay.
20th. Yeah, 20th of June.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it'll be tomorrow for us because I think the last I looked, it was like 23 hours. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, which is exciting. What made you decide to kind of revisit the songs that you guys have done? And are you guys working on or planning in the near future to work on the next album?
Oh, so the acoustic idea, it was kind of all just it was just random, came out of nowhere. We were just kind of jamming in practice and just messing around. And there was a rehearsal once where our drummer couldn't make it. So our bassist at the time, he had an acoustic guitar. So we were like, right, let's have a little mess. Let's see what we could do. And I was like, it would be really cool to do an acoustic version. Because obviously I scream mainly. But I love to do normal singing as well, clean singing. So it was really exciting to kind of, go into that head first and see what we could do. Um, and then obviously we messed around with nostalgia off the album, and then we kind of settled on this Farewell Is Our Fate being the one that we really wanted to release. In terms of new stuff, yeah, we've literally just got a couple of new songs back, so we're really excited about that. It's been a long time in the making, but we've wiggled a few things around, and I think we're going to be going in the right direction. So I'm really excited for what's to come.
So the two songs that you have just gotten back, are they going to be just singles then until you guys build up to the next album or EP?
Yeah, we're just doing singles at the moment. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that's the way a lot of bands do it anymore. I mean, t- I totally get it. Plus, you guys have so much depth to not only the music itself, but to the concept and to what you guys sing about and talk about. So I'm sure there's a lot that goes into all of that. Plus, it's a lot of emotion, which can be super cathartic, but also I'm sure exhausting at times too, trying to get all that out. So it's good. It's good to pace yourself, I think, in a lot of different ways.
yeah, absolutely. And I feel as well like with us, we love to write, we love to blast out music and come up with ideas. But for us, what's the most important thing is that we release something that means something to us, and it's conceptual, and we don't like to rush things. We'd rather something is at the absolute best it can be than pump out a song every month. And obviously things happen that you can't control. We've had a band lineup change. we've all got stuff going on in our lives which can be quite difficult while trying to run a band. Um, so there is all that as well. So it does get quite emotional sometimes, but we're really happy with how the tracks have come out, and we're really happy with the concepts of them. Like they've got meaning for we feel like they're gonna resonate to a lot of people. So that's the most important thing for us, I think.
So are you going to be continuing, if you know even yet, in the album you had each song was about a certain topic and you had in the parentheses what the topic was about. Is that something you're going to continue to do moving forward, or was that more just for the first album?
So that was the concept that I came up with for the first album. But in future stuff, I was decide on the concepts. Obviously, I run it past the guys, but I'll get like a random idea first. Um, and the next two songs they've each got their own individual concept, but they're
Okay.
concepts that will resonate to a mass scale, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's but it'll just randomly come out of nowhere as to how I'll it can either be a random melody or um one of the songs I can tell you came from a random voice note that I got. I say random, it was obviously something at the time, but I came up with the idea of like spinning it into a different concept. So the original source of the voice note isn't what the song's going to be about. I kind of twisted it a bit, but it'll all make sense when you hear it. My mind works in really weird ways. But I'm excited to see how people take them.
Yes. Well, it is super creative of how, and again, not only how you do the titles of the songs, but obviously the lyrics of the songs, the message behind them. But you also add in um clips. I don't know if that's the right word of different things going on, like in the oh my gosh, I'm gonna space the name of the Resilience song.
Don't you dare quit.
Don't you dare quit. Yeah, how you have in there someone that's basically just bagging on you guys and saying these guys are terrible, you know. So you have these
Yeah.
these parts of these songs of where you're adding some extra emotions and some extra um parts that are outside of the music, which I really like. You do that in a lot of different songs. Tell me
Oh,
about
thank
that
you.
song because I really like the message, of course, behind that song. It's a good thing for a lot of us to remember in the midst of this crazy world.
Yeah, thank you for appreciating it that we do that. Um, so that that each song on the album is based on a part of life, and "Don't You Dare Quit." As it states, it's about resilience. It's about no matter what life throws at you, if you've got something in your heart that you truly believe you want or you want to achieve, or there's somewhere that you feel you need to be, and life's just crushing you down, you just got to keep going. The music video itself, we cooked loads of fake glass, and that concept is based on also like a visual concept of what it's like to be in a band and how hard it can be sometimes, but you have to keep going. You've got the guy stood there with the gun holding it while we're performing on the glass. That's a conceptual way of saying, you look, we're trying our absolute hardest, no matter what life's throwing at us. We want this band so much. And and a fun fact for you as well, the actual clip in it, the talking clip, was Ash, our vocalist, the clean singer. But it's based on a true story of a radio station that played us. And it was in our early stages, and I was really excited at the time, tuning into all the stations that were playing us. And I heard him say that, and my heart just dropped. And I thought, that's not going to stop us, though. I was like, we'd finished the song, and we thought, it'd be really cool, reenacting that. So it's pretty much word for word what he says, but we couldn't obviously get away with playing the actual radio clip. We might have got into a bit of trouble, but yeah, Ash put on an American accent, and I think he nailed it. To be fair.
Yes. No, I agree. I agree. And yeah, I mean, I think it's so I think Ice Nine Kills did it in one of their songs too. I think it's so smart to take the hate that you know that I mean anytime you put art out there there's going to be people that's going to be hating on it cuz people are just nasty.
Yeah.
But thankfully usually there's a lot more positive, but it's the negative that sticks harder and that sticks more. So I think it's very very brilliant to be able to take something that did I'm sure was just gut wrenching and was brutal to hear, and just be like, nope, we're not gonna let it take us down. We're not gonna let it like affect us, and we're gonna keep going. And I love that. I love it's almost like a facetious way of making fun of yourself, even though of course you're not. But I love it. I think it's super smart.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's one of those moments that I'll always look back on it, especially, when we play live and stuff, it just feels incredible to play. And when the
Hmm.
sample blasts out, you're just like, you just think in your mind, you're like, people can try and shoot you down, they can throw stuff at you, but if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, things like that don't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the crowd, it's obviously there for you guys. And so they're thinking that guy's just as insane as everybody else who loves you guys. So it's cool to be able to have a collective experience like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now with resilience and the topic of it, overcome kind of, I feel like captures that again at the end of it. I really like I say it's not lyrics. I really like the poetic part of how you end that album. What made you guys decide to do that?
Oh, thank you. Again based on words that I wrote. Every time we try and write a track, I try and write kind of like a paragraph to myself of reflecting on what the song's about. At the end of the Don't You Dare Quit video, there's a paragraph of words that I wrote based on the song. So it's pretty much that, but wiggled around a little bit because it needed to be a little bit shorter and a little bit more, molded for the album. So it's basically wording. I love to write like words, lyrics, kind of poetry in a way. But yeah, that's what it's based off. So I put together some words, went in the studio, and spoke it out, and that's what it came out like. Obviously, my voice is edited a little bit, sound a
Yeah.
bit sound a bit like an alien, but yeah, that's how it came out.
Love horror movies, and it reminded me of like what they do like with the usually it's the killer's voices in some of the horror movies, how they have that effect on the voice.
Yeah.
So
Promise I
I
don't kill
really
anyone.
yeah, that's good. Well, I wouldn't tell if you did. No, I'm just kidding. um so have you always been into writing poetry? Is that something that you've done since you were younger?
It is actually, yeah. I had when I was dead young, I used to have this book, and I used to just write random stuff in it. I've still got it somewhere. Um, I even have one that I wrote about the Easter Bunny, which is so funny. I wrote it when I was like 5, and it's just something about the Easter Bunny with furry legs, but it all rhymes, and it's just so funny to read. I wish I had it for you right now.
I do
But yeah,
too.
we'll just read it out. But I've always been into words, concepts. I love concepts. I think I always like to do stuff with meaning, really, because I think it's important to it's stuff you go through in life. You've got to step back and actually think about it and what you're going through, and that's what like I said, when we put stuff out, we always try and have a concept to it because it's important that people can relate to it in a way. But yeah, I absolutely love songwriting, lyrics, poetry, everything like that.
So when did you know that poetry was going to be turned into lyrics and music? When did you know that this is what you wanted to do? Was there like a pivotal moment, or has it just kind of always been a part of your soul?
It's always been a part of me, really. I'd say that the whole word stuff in the songs, like the little samples you hear, that
Mhm.
was actually inspired by a heavy band that I used to listen to called Kill Whitney Dead.
Mm,
They were like a really heavy band, and they used to take movie clips and put them into their songs.
mhm,
So that was the inspiration behind what we do in Sovereign. Obviously, it's a little bit different because the samples that we use, what I do is I get free to use like new samples and stuff offline, and I'll edit it all together and chop it up and mismatch it to create what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So it'd be like a normal songwriting session, but like I'll have them all like and chop them up. Obviously, the Ash talking and me talking. There's some parts where we do talk ourselves, but a majority of it is just me messing around. Like the beginning of Nostalgia on the album version, I just got loads of clock noises and mashed them all up and edited them all up. I was like, that would sound really cool as an intro. So I think it's just I kind of decide it as I go. I just get weird ideas out of nowhere and get inspired by things, really. My mind's a bit crazy, I think.
Oh, I love it. I think it's very creative. And anymore, because there's so much music out there, you have to think outside the box and you have to do things kind of differently in order to really grab people's attention because our attention spans are garbage because of how the internet has trained us and how life has trained us to instant gratification and the next and the next and the next. So you have to get
Absolutely.
creative with how you yeah, are nabbing people's attention. And I think you guys do a really good job of that.
Oh, thank you. It's really nice you appreciate it. It's
Well,
cool to.
and also adding in the depth again of what the lyrical content is that I think life is just hard in general, but it's been a little bit extra crazy I think since COVID. I think that there's like this collective trauma that we all went through that we haven't talked about trying to get on the other end of, and how there's been a weird shift and there's no, like, we don't even know what normal is anymore. And so I think a lot of people are really grasping even more to lyrics that express how what they're feeling or what they're dealing with in life outside of that. So I think it's even more important than ever to have lyrics like that. With that though comes people coming to you with their extreme stories and their tough stories and stuff. Is that something you, I mean, obviously I've already experienced, but is it also something that you are going to be able to protect yourself from other people's like heavy stories so you don't carry it with you?
That's a really good question. I mean, I absolutely love talking to people that come up to us and say, your music's helped me and I've related to your music. Um, I am a very emotional being. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do carry everybody's emotions. Like even when I'm sat in a room with people, like, I always care about if they're okay, if they're comfortable, even if I barely know them. So I am quite an emotional. I've even got empath tattooed on the side of my face because I'm so
Oh, yeah.
sensitive. I
Yeah.
am a pure empath.
Hmm.
But I'd say it's something. Obviously, we've only got it on a small scale at the moment. But I feel like if it did get to a big level, I think it'd be more of an appreciative hit of wow, this is helping people. You know, um, I think it'd be a beautiful thing rather than a hindrance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like I said, I am a very emotional person, so I think it's beautiful to hear people's stories and beautiful to really capture what the impact it's making, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you go on stage and you're singing some of these songs like These Four Walls, which is a very, very emotional song, how do you keep yourself from well, to be able to perform without, completely losing yourself in the emotions of your songs and of your lyrics?
Now that is something that I've learned to do over time. Like when we first started gigging, I used to have to hold back tears, and sometimes I still do.
Yeah.
Especially we did the Dream State show we did. That was kind of a pinch me moment, and you know performing songs that have that kind of meaning, it is very difficult to not get consumed by the emotion of what it's about in the first place. But I've kind of taught myself how to keep it together, I think now. I'll always get emotional when I always hold a pride flag up in the middle of the set that says, if you're going through hell, please keep going. If you're going through hell right now, please keep going. And that's an emotional moment because it's kind of a closing the book for me of like, I'm proud of who I am, and I'm here to help everybody who's struggling with who they are. So it's just I do, but, I'm not gonna lie, I do get emotional, but I've kind of learned
Yeah.
how to deal with it.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
that's such a beautiful thing to um be able to do for others because especially as a performing artist, that's something that you know, there's like that energy that you're sharing with the crowd. And so there can be like the emotions, I think, that are, especially as an empath, the emotions as well that can be shared. So it's wonderful that you're using your platform to be able to help others and you know, help others feel like they're not alone. But I'm sure that there are times, especially if you're seeing emotions in the crowd as well, throughout, especially times like that. I'm sure it's definitely pulls even more on the emotional heartstrings. Plus, of course, it's a very big part of who you are and a very big part of your life, and it's a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing to use it that way.
And I do tear up. Like we do get people coming up to us after the show, and they do mention the flag, and are like, thank you for that," or "I needed that," and
Yeah.
that I have to stop myself from crying at that point because I'm like, that means so much. Obviously, it means so much to me, means so much to the band, and it meant so much to them. So
Yes.
that's
And
really
it
beautiful.
it's so interesting because while it was starting to become so much more of a well-respected and less of a controversial subject, it seems like it's kind of taken another ugly turn. And so I think it's just as important again more than ever to be able to stand up for what you believe and what you feel. Because it can be a scary thing and it can be a dangerous thing. And um so yeah, I'm thankful for people that use their platform for beautiful things like that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Um, was there a certain band that you grew up listening to that you had that uh moment of where you're like, that's what I want to do? Was there like a certain like video that you saw or a certain band that you were listening to or something that you were like, I think that that's what I want to do?
Oh, so for me, it was a mix of, in order to be a vocalist, it was Bullet for My Valentine, because the story of it was I was at a random house party and I heard her voice recites, like a clip of it, and I was like, what's this? And then I went on to listen to it more and I heard Tears Don't Fall. This is like in my screaming journey. Like that's kind of like the moment where I realized that I really wanted to do it, because I heard the "Let's go" that moment, and I was like, and then I got to see him live on the Kerrang tour, and I saw the Poison album, like play pretty much in full at that point. And at that point, I was like, yeah. And then I saw My Chemical Romance around, I think it was like a year later, and I saw Gerard Way live, and I was like, I want to be a vocalist. Like, I want to scream and I just want to go mental. So yeah, I'd say Matt took Bullet and Gerard Way from My Chem. Obviously, there's a bunch of bands that inspired me to be a vocalist in terms of like overall, like Bless the Fall, Eyes Set to Kill, and stuff like that. There's so many I could name, but yeah, I'd say they're the main ones.
Yeah.
That's the main reason.
So how did you learn to start doing the harsh vocals without destroying your throat? Because there's a right way and there's a wrong way. So how did you start like training your voice to be able to do it to where you can do it without harming?
Oh, it was a lot of practice. When I first started doing it, I used to lose my voice. I used to taste blood. I even spat out blood at one point. Um, but I guess it's kind of, I had to do a lot of research into it and discovering about warming up and control of the voice. I am self-taught, but I used to watch Melissa Cross, Son of
Yeah.
Screaming,
Hmm.
so I kind of had to teach myself, how to do it properly without wrecking my voice. Like in my early days of screaming, I'm not gonna lie, I did have a really bad technique. And I did used to come off stage and I used to sound like Marge Simpson, like I was really bad. And then in the end, I kind of addressed it and I thought, if I want to do this long term, I've really got to find a technique that works for how I want to sound, but also safe. So I
Yeah.
did transition my technique over time, and I did really concentrate on, my diaphragm, where my scream was coming from. And I guess 360'd it around to the point where, I warm up, I can play a show, I can rehearse for hours on end, and I'll be fine.
Good. Good. Yeah, because when you guys start doing a whole bunch of tours back to back, obviously that's going to be important. Melissa Cross, man, she's the goat. I got my son.
She is.
Yeah. I got him like she has like a group of lessons on her website of that you can purchase, and he wanted to start doing harsh vocals, and so I was like, okay, if you're gonna do it, then you got to do it right, and we're getting Melissa Cross onto this.
Yeah, that's sick. I love
Yeah.
that.
What are some things you do? Geez, bleh. What are some things you do for self-care in general, to take care of your mental health, to take care of your yeah, your mental well-being?
So I try to get as much sleep as I can.
Hmm.
I try not to party as hard as I used to.
Hmm.
um,
That getting older crap, right?
yeah, it's OAP behavior. I'd say protecting my energy. So, being around people that are inspiring, positive, um, making sure that if I'm around people that drain my energy, I don't go back. And just making sure that I'm doing what I want to do with the utmost respect for everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think in my younger days I used to live for everybody else, and I used to not think of my energy, not think of my own well-being. It was all for other people. Um, so I've kind of learned to have that balance to take care of myself, but also care about other people. And I think that's kind of balanced my mental health out a lot. Um, it's been a long time in the making of how to do that, but I'd say that's how I look after myself. And obviously, doing a band is I'd say it's almost a real life therapy in a way.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's, yeah.
I agree. I agree. And I hear a lot of musicians say that, that music is obviously, of course, a big part of their therapy. And thank goodness, because it's the same for listening to music as there's a bit it's like therapy away from therapy having music. It's what gets us through the times when we feel like we're barely holding on, or when we don't have anybody else to talk to, or don't even want to talk to anybody else. It's what holds our
Yeah.
hand through it, and I think it's so important. I will get on the soapbox until musicians are being treated better. Music is so important, and it's crazy how our musicians don't gain the financial respect that they give us in our mental health. And it's such a crazy field. That's not the right word, but whatever. It's not like it used to be, and there's obviously pros and cons to that. But yeah, financially, it's just you guys just don't get paid what you guys deserve for what you give to the fans and to the people. What are some things that people can do to help you guys along the way, so that way there is more of a gain in that way? I know that's not particular why you're doing it, but it's also a business, so
Yeah.
you have to think of it as a business too.
I know, absolutely. I'd say the best way to support our band would be to start off with spread the word. So if you like our band and you know anybody that would love our band, to tell them, word of mouth, linking them up, hooking them up with a video. Financially, the best way to support us would be to buy our merchandise, because unfortunately, as you mentioned, in this day and age, like, streaming is minimal. Um, which for us, obviously, because we're quite a visual band, a lot of people go to YouTube rather than streaming, rather than Spotify or iTunes, because they prefer to watch the video at the same time. So all our you know kind of numbers are over there. So in terms of Spotify and stuff like that, we don't earn a lot, unfortunately. But yeah, buying our merchandise is the best way to support our band. Coming to see us live, because we like to see We Are Sovereign as a family, and we love people coming to see us live. So
Yes.
that's the best way to support us, really.
Yeah.
And the more people that know about us, the better. That's how
Yes,
we
of
see it.
course. Right. Then you get on more tours, you get on more festivals, and then it just becomes a
Mhm.
domino effect. I did want to talk about with your videos, you have like kind of like a mascot that shows up in the videos. Tell me about the white hooded character, because there's definitely I was like, I keep seeing him in all of these. So tell me about who that is, and why he's become a big part of the visual part of things.
So he's my mate Tarek. We've never actually done a face reveal on him. But if you've got all our personal Instagrams and stuff like that, you can actually see a photo of him in the suit without the mask on. So there is a
Yeah.
reveal on there, but not on the band one. But it's just an idea I had. I was like, it'd be really cool to have some kind of creepy character. I don't know, just some creepy guy who's in the mall or in all the videos. And obviously, it started off with Bridges. That was the main one. And for the Bridges music video, the first kind of vision I had in my head was some creepy guy clicking his hand and the curtains opening and we're just stood there. And I was like, how am I going to achieve that? And then I thought a cinema. A cinema opens its curtains, right? So like my mind started triggering from there, and then obviously that's how he was technically made. Because I wanted like when I get a weird thing in my head, I just try and bring it to life.
Yeah.
But it took me a bit to, the curtain thing. I just saw it happening in my head, and if you watch the video, you'll see him stood there, and he kind of just moves his hand. You can't see my hand right now. I don't know why I'm trying to show you. But he click his hand, and then the curtains open, and we're just stood there with the masks on, and he's there all creepy. So yeah, that's where it came from, and then he just carried on being in all of them, really. Um, he was originally going to be the album cover, but we changed our mind last minute to, we wanted to make it more conceptual.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, he's just become a part of it.
Is he going to
Yeah,
continue to be a part of it, or do you know yet?
we're not 100% sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not 100% sure, but there'll always be weird stuff. I'm sure.
That's good. There's a band called Die Humane. I don't know if you've heard of them. But their videos, the one of the musicians in the band also does cinematography type stuff, and their videos are so weird. And by the end of each and every one, I feel so creeped out, but they're really, really good. And I love horror movies, and so I love that creepy aspect. So I'll definitely look forward to seeing what you guys end up doing, whether it's with him or not. Does he have a name? Like obviously he has a name and you told me his name, but does the character itself have a name?
Do you know what? He actually doesn't. But thinking about it, I don't know.
You should have the
We
fans come up with a name for him.
we always have a joke with my mates when we don't know what someone's called or something random. We'll just say Farmer John. Like
Parmesan.
when we do karaoke, we'll just start put the name in Farmer John. Yeah, it's just become a thing. So we'll call him Farmer John for now until until we know. So till we know. Yeah.
Well, that makes it hilarious. Then it kind of takes the fear factor away from it because he definitely don't look like. I don't know. I don't know. Now, the more I think about it, actually, you could turn that. You can make it go from funny to extra, extra creepy with that name,
The
depending on
next
what direction you take it.
the next video is just him with a tractor on, just going like that.
Then you can have a scarecrow in the background that's creepy too, and then they can yeah,
I love that.
that
Me
would
and
be
you need to hook up and do
hilarious.
the next video.
That would be hilarious. Oh my gosh. Do you have like a lot of farmland around where you're at?
Not round here, no. But where I used to live in a place called Preesall when I was younger. It's about 40 minutes out from Blackpool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally fields, fields and fields. You used to get on the bus and you could just smell cow beep. I don't know if I can swear on this interview, but
Yeah,
like
you totally
like
can.
cow shit. And
Mhm.
I used to go to school in Lancaster and I used to get a bus there. And you just used to go, the journey was just fields. It was just weird bends around the corner, it was just yeah, fields, animals everywhere. But not so much in Derby,
Yeah, well, if
where
you're
I am
close
right now.
by though, it looks like it would be probably not too difficult of a thing for you guys to do if it's only 40 minutes away. That's not terrible.
Oh,
Everything's
40,
close there though.
40 minutes from where I used to live though. From
Oh,
Blackpool's
from
where I
where
was
you
born.
used to live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I
I'm
was
kind of in
thinking
the center of the UK now rather than north.
okay. Gotcha. Well, maybe there's some hidden side towns around there that aren't too far that you'll be able to find something like that to do that, but that would be hilarious.
I'll
If
get
I see
hunting.
that, I'm gonna be like, Easter egg.
You're like, I knew it was coming.
Yep. I
I
got
love
the
that.
first peek. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking this time with me. I would definitely want to talk again the more that you guys have stuff coming out. And keep tabs on what you guys got going on. I really dig it, and um, yeah, I appreciate you taking this time for me.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate you, having me. And
Absolutely.
I
I
hope you
hope
dig the acoustic.
Definitely, definitely. I'm excited to hear those next two singles. You'll have to let me know when they're coming out.
Yeah, for sure. I will do.
Awesome. Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again for having me and
Yep.
take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.